Yes. Hello, Radhika ji. So finally, we are having the author collaborative, I think, after almost 6 months of to and fro.
I know, Manali. It's so good to be here finally. I'm feeling like as if we are celebrating some big national festival or something. The back and forth thing we had. Seriously.
So before I begin,
Yeah.
would you like to tell the audience about yourself and what is it that you do professionally?
Okay. Professionally, no. I'm a housewife actually. So I'm into this blogging and writing. So I'm Radhika Acharya, and I'm more known as Kamlamma. I don't know if you've heard of Kamlamma, but she's a very hilarious housewife whose her posts keep coming on Times of India under my name, the witty wordsmith. So some of them have really gone viral. So I'm known for her. And then for my recently published book, The Adventures of the JP Family, which is a collection of short stories. And yeah, it became very popular because it was very relatable, very funny, and very simple language. That's why.
Yes, talking
Yeah.
about the adventures of the JP family, that's
Mm.
that's how we came into contact because I read that book of yours and I absolutely had like a fun ride
Mm.
reading it. It's a hilarious book because
Thank you.
it touches on the nuances of an Indian middle class family, a typical Indian middle class family, and all the incidents. When I was reading the book, as you mentioned, it's a collection of short stories, but it's
Yeah.
circling the middle class family that's the
Right, right.
at the center point of the book, and all the incidents that you have mentioned, I was able to recall them from my childhood. Oh my god, yes, this something like this also happened in our family.
Yeah. Exactly. In fact, one of my readers, she called up to tell me that, are you sure you don't have a CCTV in everybody's house? Because, the situations are like, it happens in all the houses.
Yes, yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
And could you show the audience your book?
Oh, yeah, with pleasure. There's one right behind it. If I keep bobbing my head here and there so that, my viewers can see it.
Yes, so if we are not able to catch it on you holding it, we have the recall behind you also.
In your face, I'm reminding you all, like, it's there. Buy it, read it. Yeah, this is the one.
Yes, so
It is the
everyone,
cover
that's
and everything. Yeah.
Radhika
Yeah.
ji's book, which I absolutely enjoyed reading, and you must definitely check it out on Amazon. It's available in paperback and Kindle both, right?
Yes, yes, yes. The
Yes.
Kindle, the cover is slightly different because the cover was designed by my brother-in-law. So it's different from this paperback, but the name is the same. Everything else is the same.
Yes. So under the name
Yeah.
of Radhika Acharya, if you go to Amazon, you will be able to find the book. And you have also had other books, if I remember correctly, besides this.
The one previous to this was, it's called The Funny Side of It. But that is not real. I don't know if I can call it, it's not a story or anything. It's a collection of all the essays and the anecdotes and stories which I put up on my blog. I've got a blog called
Okay.
Radhika's Diaries with WordPress.
Okay. Okay.
So I started off my writing through my blog actually. So those are also were very all hilarious anecdotes, and whatever comes in the newspaper, I elaborate on it in humor and all that. So somebody suggested, why don't you, bring out a book on that? So I
Okay.
started that because I wanted to practice that word document. It
Hmm.
gave me a lot of practice with compiling a book.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, making a file and all that. Yeah, and then I published it because it was anyway ready. Yeah.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
So based on my reading of the book, I have a few questions that I would love if you can answer them. So are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, sure. For the adventures or the adventures,
So
right?
adventures of the JP family, overall your writing experience
Yeah,
and
yeah,
your
sure,
blogging
sure, sure.
experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So my first question to you is your book. It's a hilarious ride, as I was mentioning
Mm,
earlier. So tell us
mhm.
how we can use humor in fiction. Like what are the kind of tips that you would like to give out to writers who are venturing into the field of humor writing?
Humor. Okay, okay. That's very interesting. But I don't know how far I can help because for me, I have not thought of writing anything other than humor. Because it comes, mostly if it comes naturally, it's better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just because it should be spontaneous, right? So even if you're attempting humor, you should not show that it is. You should not force it,
Hmm.
or it should not be, unless it's a joke book or something. It should not be slapstick, or it should not be in the face. The
Hmm.
subtler it is, the better. Okay. And I've always seen that with humor, the characters can relate better with the readers. Like even if it's a serious topic and they want to put it forth with humor, uh, readers tend to relate better. They tend to get engrossed more. They want to see what's happening next. So it's there, but it should not be such that the humor if you're dealing with a serious topic, it should not be such that the seriousness of the topic gets pulled down by humor. It should be given the seriousness, so it should be balanced.
Okay.
And I also feel that timing is very important, when you put your punchline and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that's helpful.
Yes, it is definitely, because in my experience also, I've seen that unless you are funny in real life, you can't be funny on paper. And it becomes forced. You have to be able to, see humor in your tragedy or your everyday incidents to be able to write something which is funny. So that's
Yes,
really
exactly. I can give you an instance for that, because I had a pair of twins. Okay. So the process, right from when I was carrying them to about 5 or 6 years, it was it was a very tough phase. Although it was enjoyable also, but it was tough because bringing up twins is quite a challenge. So I recently made a podcast series on, twintalizing tales. And they became very popular because I have put forth all those the little challenges and everything which I had through humor, which was very well accepted. People, other mothers, they came back to me saying they've helped them see things with perspective. Even you can see a light-hearted style of doing things also, and looking back with humor and all. It helped them, they said. So I was quite happy.
That's wonderful. So that actually brings me to my next question, which is you also run a blog where you are sharing all these funny anecdotes, and you are also mentioning a podcast now. So how is this different from publishing a book in the same genre?
Okay, so I feel that in my blogs or in my podcast, they're random topics. Like for my blog, if I hear something funny, or if something catches my attention on, say somebody said something to me, or I read a report in a newspaper, I pick that up and I present it. It's random. Okay, it's like latest current topic. It could be anything, politics, Trump. Yeah, even Kamala Harris has featured in my blog as Kamalamma.
Yes,
And
I have
it
read
happens
that
like
one.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a recent one. Yes.
Yes. Whereas in a novel, it has to be kind of thematic, I feel. There has to be a thread running through, no?
Yes.
So that is, I think, the main difference. And a novel, that idea has to be large enough for to be carried from conception to the end of the book, right? So that's the main difference.
Correct. Yes, that's very true. Yes. And that's something actually I have come to realize from experience, because my debut book, it was a poetry book. And what I have now realized after, publishing a few more books is that it lacked a common theme between the poems. So though they were all poems, I have come to the realization that probably it would have worked better if I had a common theme connecting all the poems, which is very true what you mentioned here, because the poems in that book, they are of various genres, and they didn't have anything common except probably me being the author behind them. So
Okay.
and I feel that that would have connected better, or I don't know, that's my understanding of publishing so far. Yeah.
Okay.
I get what you are saying. Which
Okay.
brings me to my next question. So, what do you think brings in more audience? Is it a blog or a book? And how can we create a wider readership for both of these?
Oh, this is fantastic, because I would also like to know the answer. No, you know what? A blog has a wider reach in the sense that it's there. Okay. Whereas for a book, even if it's on Kindle or something, you need to have a reading device. You need to have the app for it. Or especially since my book was released recently during the pandemic time, I did not have an outlet for it. No shop was ready to store them, because they said people are not coming anyway. So I lost out on a lot of that. I
Yes.
lost out on actual people who would buy. I wanted to go and give my book to people who I wanted to present my book to people. I couldn't do that. So a lot of things were curtailed because of the situation. In that sense, a blog is there online. Anybody can access it at any time. You can read it on the go, anything. So I think that's
Correct.
more accessible.
Yes.
But having said that, the pleasure of writing a book is completely different from a blog, right?
Yes.
So that
Very
is a
true.
reward in itself. Yeah.
Yes. One more thing that I have observed is that I don't know if you agree or not, but people tend to read blogs more because there's no monetary value attached to it. It's free to read for everyone, and
You're right.
with books,
You're right.
people are
Yeah.
hesitant to pay, thinking that the same kind of content is available for free on a blog. Why should I pay for reading a book or buying a book?
Correct. In fact, as soon as I published both my books, Funny Side of It and The Adventures, the first question that people asked me was, "Is it on Kindle Unlimited?" Because people think they because of course I don't. I mean, it's understandable. We're all new authors. They don't know our style.
Yes.
So they don't want to invest, or they don't want to spend money.
Yes.
To maybe it's that way.
So probably for new authors or new writers, it's a good thing to first establish themselves as a blogger and then go ahead and
That's right.
publish a book.
That's right. Very true. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah.
Because as I was mentioning earlier, with my first book, I was so excited to bring it out that I didn't focus on first creating a brand and name for myself before publishing it. But now that I have, come to realize it, I understand the importance of creating a certain audience before, going out into the publishing world, which is very important.
Correct. Experience teaches us.
Yeah. Yes, sometimes very harshly so, but yes.
Totally true. Okay.
So, next question I have is, because I have done both traditional and self-publishing, and so have you. So, what has been your experience was in these two different types of publishing, and which one would you recommend for new writers, and why?
Oh, okay. Both have their own pros and cons, right? So like I started off with Block Chatter's A to Z challenge. So in that that helped me learn all about Word documents and files and saving and I don't know what else, all those technical things which my children helped me with it, because I was scared of the keyboard only. I was always scared that if I hit something the screen will go off and things like that, all crazy fears I had. So it helped me get over that. Then KDP came into the picture, and it tends to give you so much of power, right? Like it's in your hands. You can make your own cover. You can do whatever you want as long as it fits into their expected. Relatively, right? So that is a totally different freedom you get. Whereas for traditional public or actual paperback publishing and stuff like that, you have to follow the guidelines of what the publisher expects you to and stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm sure even if you're very successful on self-publishing, ultimately every author's dream is to get
traditional. Yeah.
Yes. You can't get out of that.
Especially with the big five, even in traditional, there are a lot of new publishers out there, but there is that, aim in your mind or ambition in your mind to get published with the big five.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what I have seen in my experience is that you can go with self-publishing, and especially with the kind of freedom that KDP provides, it's a wonderful platform to get your first book or even your later books out there. But with my last two books, the books did so well that they were picked up by a traditional publisher. So that's another thing that new writers can explore.
Yeah. That is an achievement.
Yeah. Okay. So that's also something I tell new writers, that explore with self-publishing, but make sure that your content is good enough and that it performs so well that it gets noticed by somebody who's willing to publish it in a paperback.
Correct. Yeah. And so I have a point to add there. Since I mentioned that KDP gives you, or self-publishing, whatever, gives you the freedom to express yourself, right? But I still feel that however much you may be the author and you may be the creator of your work, I give very strong importance to grammar.
Yeah.
A book puts me off if I know that a book is an author's baby and they want to just express themselves and all, but with a little bit of bad grammar, it tends to put me off a little. I may
Yes.
be a little selfish that way, but I don't know. That's how I feel. So if you want to get into actual publishing, get noticed, it's important that you polish up your language a little as far as grammar, punctuation, and all is
Yes.
concerned.
Very true.
I
So
strongly
yes,
feel
that's what also I was saying, that I tell every new writer or somebody who asks me about publishing, I tell them that first focus on the content of the story or content of the book,
right.
make it good enough, and then worry about getting it published.
Correct.
That should be your first aim, rather than starting with मैं मुझे publish करना है, start with मुझे क्या लिखना है.
और कैसे लिखना है.
हाँ.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so my next question to you is, because you are so popular with your humor and you do it so well, I want to ask you, what's other kind of genre that you venture into? Do you think that writers should stick to a niche, or they should explore more genres or forms of writing?
If a writer is capable of doing it, I mean, please do go ahead. Because for me, I cannot, it is, I don't know whether it's a shortcoming or it is my advantage, but I cannot think beyond, humor. Whatever I tend to write, it creeps in. I can't help it. But I'm right now I'm coming out with a romance, light-hearted. I think I can call it a rom-com, but it is based on a real life story. But however serious the topic was, I could not get out of treating it with humor. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as they say, a bit of your personality comes into your writing, whether you
I think
whether
so.
you like it or not.
It creeps in unnoticed. Yeah. So I don't know.
Said
But
about a rom-com. So you're bringing out a debut novel, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's really exciting. Good luck with that. And
thank you so much.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm very excited, and I'm for sure going to do that.
Wow, thank you so much.
Okay, so that brings me to the end of my questions for you. And if you have any questions for me, I'm ready now.
Yeah, I'm waiting to talk about your book, because I recently read it and I had downloaded it, but that you need a muhurtam for everything, right? So Love Triangle, I really loved it.
Thank you so much. That
makes
me really happy.
I would like to see the cover again, because I want to talk about the cover.
So I am not sure if everyone knows it, but it's out in paperback, but I don't have my copy yet, so I'm going to be showing it till for now.
That's the issue of being out of India. You need copies. I know. I had a tough time too getting my copies.
So this is what it looks like.
There we go. Yay! That's Manali's Love Triangle.
The cover has been updated, but unfortunately, it has not yet updated on my Kindle. But if you go to Amazon and type Manali Desai or Love Triangle, you'll be able to see the new cover, which is really very quirky and very minimalistic. I like it more than the original cover.
Oh, okay, that's nice. As long as you're happy, no?
Yes. Though both the covers, they were mostly self-made. The first one was definitely self-made. The second, I had the inputs of the publisher, but it was.
Yeah, I read the byline inside. The cover designed by Manali, and I was so happy because it's such an achievement. It's such a nice feeling.
I am somebody who's like, if I don't like it, I won't go ahead with it. I need to have that feeling like, yes, this is the right thing.
Completely satisfied. Okay. So that brings me to what I would like to know about your book. When I went through the book, I noticed, little diagrams at the end of each chapter, which is so apt for the entire. How did you think of that? It like summed up.
The entire chapter. It sums up it's like a summary of the chapter.
Exactly.
So The idea was to have something pictorial in the book. I wasn't sure what I would put, but with all my books so far, there has been some visual representation of whatever I'm trying to convey, and I wanted to continue with that in this book also, and that's how the idea came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. And even the wordings at the it's not a caption as such, no? The beginning of each chapter, you
The
have this
quotes by
wording
the
by
characters.
the character in that chapter, right?
Yes.
I found it very apt.
Thank you.
I at the end of the chapter, I went back to the quote to relate it, and it was a really nice
Wow,
feeling.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. Correct. Okay, so that brings me to my question. Uh, the book previous to your love triangle was a collection of short stories, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us the name of the book?
So it's called The Art of Being Grateful and Other Stories. It's a
Yeah.
collection of 8 short stories. They are not even short stories. They are like anecdotes
Mm,
and flash fiction. Very, very tiny
correct.
stories, if you can call them.
Exactly. So that's yeah. So yeah, tell us.
Yeah. And so actually, that's how I began my writing. I started with poetry first, and then I went on to writing short stories. And
Mm,
the more I wrote, the better I became. And these
mm,
were
mm,
some of
mm.
the stories that, I wrote very initially, and they were not accepted by many publications, and they were just lying there. But in
Mhm,
my heart, I knew somewhere that there must be an audience somewhere who's willing to read in it, and they will be
mm,
happy to read
mm,
it and they will like it. So
mm.
during the pandemic, that idea came to me that why not put them all together into in a form of a book. And it's been very widely accepted, and I'm really happy that people have liked the stories so much, because as I mentioned earlier, these were stories that I wrote in the very initial stages of my venturing out into fiction writing.
Mm, mm,
And
mm, mm.
now that I go back and read the book myself, I realize that I write much better than that now. But it's a really good thing that people have accepted it and liked
No,
it so
I
much.
think, yeah, I think I'll tell you, even when I read my previous blogs, I notice how much I've grown.
Yeah.
No, I
Yes.
notice a difference. Yeah. So that brings me to my question for you. Your short stories and then a beautiful full-length novel. How did you the transition? Did you find it different or difficult?
Uh, different, definitely. Difficult a little bit because writing a novel requires much more patience than writing short form
Definitely.
creative writing. You need to go
And there
back
should
to
be
it every time.
consistency, right?
Yes, yes.
Ah, that's what,
So
yeah.
you need to go back to it every time. You need to try and remember what you last wrote, and that's kind of a difficult process.
Mm,
Having said that, I enjoyed the process, and within the first few days, I started looking forward to the time when I would sit on my laptop and continue writing
okay.
the story. So
Wow.
you get the hang of once you get the hang of it, it's a very enjoyable process if you love the process of writing. So yeah, it's different from short form creative writing, but I would definitely encourage anyone out there who loves writing to
Mm.
try novel writing also.
Yeah, because I was scared of trying a novel because my ideas, I felt personally that they're not big enough to last for a whole book,
Yeah,
right?
yes, I completely
Yeah,
understand. Yes.
yeah. So, do you have any suggestion for? I mean, what would one do if you have that thought in the mind?
So what I would suggest is try writing in a genre that you are comfortable as a reader.
Mm.
Because I
Mm-hmm.
picked rom-com because that's the genre that I have really read the most, and that
Mm-hmm.
made the writing of the novel easier for me because I knew
Okay.
what kind of elements I have noticed in the novels that I have read so
Mm.
far. What are the kind
Mm.
of character developments that readers really like, and what are the side characters, the quirks that people really look
Yeah.
forward to. So those are
Mm.
the kind of things you can put into your novel if you have read enough of that genre.
Enough of that. Correct. I like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
So
So
that's
there.
that's
Mm.
that's for your debut novel or your initial first few novels, and
Okay.
that's
Okay.
kind of a safe writing, I feel, because
Mm-hmm.
you have a certain kind of confidence that you will be able to do it. But having
Mm.
said that, I also want to mention that don't do it in isolation. though you write the first draft in isolation, that's completely all right, but it's very necessary to have somebody's input on what you have written. Yeah.
Okay,
Unless and
okay.
until you have a third person's opinion on it, you will not realize where you need to change or where you are going wrong.
Correct, because we can be very subjective when it comes to our work,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
need, as you said, another point of view, perspective. True.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, so that let's move to my question, the next one. Do you have a framework in mind before you start writing out, or do you go with the flow?
So the initial skeleton of the story, I can only talk from the experience of Love Triangle because that's the only
Okay.
novel I have written.
Mm.
When the idea came to me, I was very clear about the ending from the very beginning. And the entire
Ah,
process after that became, a means to justify the end. So
is it?
that's how the story developed.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, because this is very interesting because you've got a very, very different ending to what,
Yes.
one would right. Oh,
Yes.
that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
So with short stories, generally, I used to, you know, uh, go as the flow came. And I used
Okay.
to develop the characters or the endings as I was writing. And sometimes
Okay.
the end would surprise me myself
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
what I had thought in the beginning,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not turning out to be, as justifiable as I began
Okay.
writing. So with short stories, I was able to change that. But with this debut novel, I was very clear. Yeah.
Ah, wow, that's lovely. Okay.
So both kind of things
Okay.
can work for you depending on the
Yeah, true.
idea that you have in your mind, and keep questioning yourself while you are writing whether what you are putting on paper, what you are putting into the
Mm,
story is
mm.
leading to a better ending or not.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, in fact, I heard some, when I read the interviews of some of these film script writers, they had three different versions of with different endings, and then they had a tough time, choosing. Maybe the
Yeah.
Inky Pinky Ponky or something they did, maybe. Okay, to pick out.
Yeah.
So incidentally, then when we were talking of characters, then your Viren
Aisha.
Joshi,
Viren Joshi, yes.
no, yeah, Aisha is the center point. Correct. Viren
Yes.
and Abhi Agarwal. Correct.
Mhm.
So, did you have any favorites? Did you want, like, secretly?
Yes. I secretly still have a crush on Viren Joshi. I'm like, I need a friend
Ah,
like that in my life.
okay,
So
okay.
chivalrous, so sweet. I
Yeah,
mean, he's too good to be
thoughtful,
true.
thoughtful, and
Yes,
yes.
yes. So
Okay.
even while writing, I was so biased towards Viren that
Ah.
my beta readers pointed out that you need to point out the good points in Abhi also because Abhi is leaning towards a very villainous character now.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that chapter where they were having that farewell party, I deliberately put in that point where he was taking care of
Mm.
Aisha and she's uh, taking note of the point that he's so kind and so different from how she
She pictured
was.
him. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that was
So
very
then,
deliberate.
okay, okay, okay. You don't want to mislead the readers, no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean that these characters are based on somebody met or you're
So
acquainted with? Or
Aisha is an amalgamation of myself and all the women, inspiring women that I know in my life.
mm,
And Viren and Abhi are based loosely on some fictional characters as well as the
okay.
male friends that I have in my life. Viren is
Oh,
definitely
okay.
somebody who's more of a fictional inspiration. I don't know if you have seen the movie Sochana Tha with Abhay Deol and Aisha Takya. And so Viren is inspired
Mm.
from Abhay Deol's character, who's also named Viren in the movie.
Ah, acha. I don't think I don't remember the movie. It's a good thing because the book was fresh for me.
Yes. So the naming and a lot of personality traits were inspired from Abhay Deol's character in the movie.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what is the best time of the day when you're at your creative best?
At night after everyone
Is
is
it?
sleeping. Yeah. Or
Oh,
early in the morning. I mean, I enjoy
okay.
the quiet hours, which
Mm,
usually is after midnight or before sunrise.
okay, okay. Yeah,
But
okay. Yeah, I
I'm
know.
not an
We need
early
solitude.
riser. I'm not an early riser. So usually at night.
Mm,
When I
night
was
it
writing
turns out to
the
be the best.
novel, thankfully I was able to change my routine a bit. That's also one thing I want to point out to new writers. You need to make adjustments and become a bit more disciplined than you already are while you are
Ah,
writing a
ha,
novel.
ha, 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 ha.
Stick to a
Ah, ha, ha.
routine. Try writing at least a few number of words and pages every day. So
Okay.
that's something I was able to change in my routine when I was completing the writing and completing the novel. And I used to write late at night also, and I used to wake up early and continue
Okay.
writing as well.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed in your acknowledgements, you have thanked your yin to your yang that, having a spouse who is busy on Valentine's Day and weekends and festivals, it's very difficult. I agree. But that's until the book is finished, right? After that, you're free
Yes,
again.
yes.
Okay. So tell me, do you have, did you come across any book which, as soon as you read it, you instantly felt, oh my God, I wish I had written that?
So many, so many.
Is it? Okay.
Endless. So the as an adult reader, when I started reading Harry Potter, that's the first thought I had.
Wow. Give me a high five.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's marvelous how she has developed the entire plot. She has made it so
Totally.
detailed, and there are subplots for each character. I mean, the
I
constant
know.
question in my head was like, how?
Exactly. And shall I add a point here?
Yeah,
When I finished the entire series and everything right in the beginning was connected and explained,
yes,
justified at the end, that really
yes.
amazed me. And I said, how? No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
really.
very inspiring, and as a writer, you are awed and very motivated to follow on her path.
Right. Yeah,
Not
that's
only
true. So true.
because she has written such a wonderful series, but also because of how successful it turned out. That's also another.
Unexpectedly, because as we all know that she also had a tough time getting the book
Yes,
approved in the first place, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So there's hope for us. Yes.
yes. And
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling herself says that it all came because of her love for reading. And I keep reiterating this point to all the new writers I speak to, that
Mm,
if you are not reading, you cannot
mm,
become a good or successful writer. You have to be
mm,
first a
mm,
very
mm,
good,
mm,
keen, observant reader in order to be a
mm.
better writer.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's Harry Potter. And recently, I have even had that thought when I was reading your book, actually, because it's so relatable. Yeah.
This is my OMG moment.
Because it's
Oh,
such
thank you.
relatable humor. And while I was reading it, I was also recalling Sarabai versus Sarabai because it's along the similar lines, because it's a middle class family and they are showing it so wonderfully. And I don't believe a show as good as Sarabai versus Sarabai has been made in Indian television. It's like just wow. You can
Yeah.
watch it anytime and it's still hilarious, even if you are watching it repeatedly. I had that
Yeah.
thought while I was reading your book. This is like a book version of Sarabai versus Sarabai.
Okay, okay. Wow. That is nice.
I was thinking, oh
Okay,
my
okay.
God, why didn't this thought come to me? Because we live through these instances every day. And as a writer,
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
ask yourself, why didn't I think of this? Because this is happening with me. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for
Actually,
that,
yeah.
converting that
Actually,
into a book.
yeah. And when people saw this, because I have boys,
Hmm.
okay, and
Hmm.
I'm a South Indian. So people automatically thought this is my story, but it's not. These two are not twins. They're just siblings.
Yeah.
I have to keep telling them. And every time they wanted to know, JP uncle is your husband, the aunt is you. I would try to say, no, it's not. It's the story of all houses, not just mine.
But that brings me to an interesting question, which I wish I would have thought of earlier. Is
Hmm.
any of the instance in the book inspired from your life?
Uh, not just mine, but my friends and all, especially that exam time, the swapping of notes
Yeah,
and
yeah. Oh,
downloading and all. Oh, that
yes.
is definitely it been happening in my friend circle. And that mixy thing a little bit,
Oh,
yeah.
that was my favorite. That
And
was my favorite one.
and I hopefully, I don't know if my husband is going to watch this, but standing in queues is definitely my home thing. My husband loves standing in queues, and then he'll keep saying, "You go to that queue, and we'll see." And it's like that is totally our house.
Ah, wonderful. So,
Yeah.
to whoever is listening to this, you can see that the book is very relatable. So, once again, I reiterate the point. Please go and check out the book because it's really very funny.
Thank you, dear. The same goes for Love Triangle. The way you have developed the story,
Thank you.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
characters and all, and the way you've put my favorite is I love Bollywood. Let anybody say anything, I love Bollywood. And you have introduced, and
yeah,
Bollywood clips flipping in and out of your book. No, that was
yeah,
something that really caught and
yeah.
kept me.
And so many readers pointed this fact out that your book is so Bollywood inspired, and it has so many references of Bollywood movies and songs also,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you should do something focused on that. That actually led me
Mm.
to the idea that I need to have a Spotify playlist for all the songs of Love Triangle, because there are more than 10 to 15 songs. When I started
Mm.
making the playlist, I realized, oh my
Mm.
god, I have written a very musical book.
Okay. Okay. Sanjay Leela Bansal in the making.
There are 17 songs in the book, and
Is it?
yeah, 17 songs. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I have
Okay.
created a special Love Triangle playlist on Spotify for whoever wants to go and listen to the songs referred to in the book.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. What's your title for the Spotify Love Triangle only?
Love Triangle, yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So we just go to
and
Spotify and
type
type it out.
Love Triangle, or if you're not able to find it that way, you can go to my handle. A Rustic Mind is also as a channel on Spotify, and under that you will find the
Okay.
playlist.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. My title is Bits and Pieces with Radhika on on
Spotify.
Anchor,
Oh,
Spotify. Yeah.
yes, I will definitely give you a follow. No, I'm not very active yet on Spotify. I only came to create this playlist, but
Okay,
I'm
okay, okay,
trying,
okay.
to,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not very consistent with my podcast, but I like to have my fingers in all the pies.
Yeah, same with me, because I want to be everywhere. People shouldn't be able to not find me.
Good idea. You have to.
But
Yeah,
I
somebody
tell you,
told
but
me
I can find you on Instagram. No, no, but you are not there on Facebook. So I am there everywhere.
everywhere. Totally. Yeah. Somebody had told me right in the beginning, and my strongest advice, it is my advice to everybody who aspires to be a writer, do not be shy or ashamed to shove your writing, the book, whatever it is, under people's noses.
Yeah.
Keep on telling them, this is my book,
Shameless
buy, buy, buy.
promotion. Shameless
Total,
promotion.
total,
Yeah.
total. Yeah.
I to even go to libraries here and tell people, you should check this out. You should read this. You don't need to pay. I'm carrying the book. You read it.
You read it, okay. Okay, okay. You're a walking library.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
As long as they're liking the book and leaving a
That's the
review on
main thing.
Amazon Goodreads, I don't care. So, in whatever
Yeah,
form you
true,
want
true.
to read, read.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, okay. So that reminds me of one question I wanted to ask you. See, they've written books and then they've made movies out of books. Correct? Has
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter? It reminded me of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Which would you prefer, the book or the movie, and why?
Harry Potter, or just in general?
In general.
In general, anytime a book. But lately,
Mm,
because of OTT, there have been so many
mm,
series and movies
mm.
that I haven't read the books of, and I ended up watching the movie because they looked so appealing. For instance, there
Okay.
is this series You on Netflix. I had not heard of the book or read the book so far, and I have already watched the 2 seasons of the series which has been
Okay.
adapted by Netflix. And Now I feel
I
very
watched
shy
one.
going back to the book. I don't
Oh,
want to read the book now because I know what's going to happen.
yeah. And plus the image that you formed, it's there. It
Yes,
might get
it
changed
it
if you
hampers with your reading. Then I feel
maybe,
somewhere.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe. Okay, okay, okay.
but
So it's
definitely I
personal, I guess.
prefer I prefer books over
The book, no?
movies or screen adaptations. But lately things have changed because I have not read so many books which are getting adapted now.
Ah, okay. Yeah, they're going too fast for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
Give
to
us
give us
some
time to
time to
catch up.
read.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
That's
okay,
about it.
okay.
I also have a few rapid fire questions for you, in
Mm-hmm.
case. Yeah, that should
Yes.
be. That's my most favorite, segment of the entire this author collaborative series. Are you
Okay,
ready?
the questions are going to be rapid or the answer should be rapid. What?
The questions are also going to be rapid, and the answers have to be as rapid as possible.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, shoot.
Yes. My first question to you is an unusual thing you do when you start your day.
Wow. That the very fact that I wake up is unusual. I would like to go on sleeping. No, but let me see. Yeah, as soon as I wake up, I have this very bad habit of opening one eye and checking if my husband has got up yet or not. Because later on, whether he's sitting and reading his newspaper and doing nothing in the kitchen, also the very point that he has gotten up before me, it's an achievement for me. You
Wonderful.
get my point? He's woken
Yes,
up before me.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Just a second. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no problem. Yeah.
Okay, my next question is if you could be an animal, what would it be? Which animal would it be?
Oh wow. I think I would love to be a cat, not because of
Hmm.
the 9 lives it has, but for the very thing that it flops down and goes to sleep anywhere and wherever,
Yeah,
anytime.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm unfortunately I'm what do you call it? I'm
Light sleeper.
no sleeper. I struggle sometimes at night to fall asleep. So I would love to be a cat. Yeah.
Wonderful. You could also be Professor McGonagall then in
Oh, is
another
it?
dimension. Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay. That's a point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blogging or book writing and publishing. Why?
Blogging or book writing and publishing. Um, Blogging, because book writing is a longer process. I need
Hmm.
to be more focused, more disciplined, more, whereas blogging is plugging.
Blogging is like a journal. You can write anything you
It
want.
is.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And blogging gives me instant feedback that how many likes, how many
Yeah.
views, how many,
Hmm.
and that's something
Correct.
which keeps me going.
Hmm.
You
True.
know, whereas
Oh.
books we are not able to know as such.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So the next question, a middle class trait or habit you don't generally admit to indulging in.
I don't know if it could call this middle class, but these this disposable spoons and knives and forks which come with the takeaways. I
Hmm.
hoard them. I wash them nicely with soap
Yeah.
and water, and I have a full drawer full of them. And even if I know that those forks and spoons and all are useless for anything, I mean, it doesn't have strength for anything. It's not very strong, but still, I hoard them.
That's a very middle class trait. Huh? I must tell you.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but the first, as soon as the takeaways come, I use a steel spoon and I put these away. Don't ask me why.
I love this. Okay. My last question in this segment is the worst and the best thing about being a writer.
Oh wow. The best thing about being a writer, because see, I love talking.
Hmm.
Okay. But all the time people don't like to hear me talk.
Yeah.
So then writing is the next best
Hmm.
thing after
Hmm.
talking. Okay. In
Hmm.
fact, my family used to say I should have been an RJ, because I'm always jabbering. So, and the worst thing about being a writer is ever since I started my blogs, people are very wary about saying something in front of me, or just being in front of me, because
Because it
they
will
think, oh
become
my
a
God,
part
she's,
of the
yeah,
blog.
yeah. As soon as my close friends, our community people here, I have some very close friends, the minute they say something, they say, oh my God, now Radhika is going to put this in her blog. So they're very, they think twice before saying something to me and all that. They feel more conscious than me that I'm a writer. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
true. I can completely understand. People are wary of talking in front of me also because they'll be like, no. And then they also put a disclaimer after sharing some stuff with me. Don't write about this, Manali. Okay, please.
yeah. And we have a family friend here in Abu Dhabi. He keeps saying, this is my joke, there's a copyright. You have to give me credit if you put it in your book.
I love this. Okay, so if you have any rapid fire questions for me, I'll be
Rapid
happy to do
fire.
it. Yes.
Okay, rapid fire. A favorite question if people keep asking me, what is your comfort food?
Because I'm generally very conscious about
Mm.
what I put in my mouth at least 5 days of the
Okay.
week. At least 5 days
Okay,
of the
okay,
week.
okay. Okay.
So chocolate is my comfort food. So on a weekday,
Ah,
if I'm very frustrated or things are not going as per my liking, I pick up a bar of chocolate and
wow.
I feel better now.
Is it okay? So we know the way to put your mood right. Just give you a
Yes,
chocolate.
yes.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, okay, okay. So tell me then another thing which I would like you to tell us. In case you didn't have Wi-Fi for a whole day,
Hmm.
what would you do?
I will read. I will catch up on my reading, or I
Ah,
will go to the
that's nice.
library. Recently, in fact, this happened just a week ago. My phone got damaged, and
Mm,
I was cut off from social media completely. And I had been putting off going to the library, which is near my place here. It's about half an hour walk from here, and it was on my list. I had to go to this library and spend an entire day there. The phone got damaged, and that entire day I
okay.
spent in the library.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's a blessing then sometimes.
Yes, it's a blessing in disguise. They really.
Yeah. Okay, okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
A day well spent, according
Yes.
to me. Okay. Yeah, okay. So tell me, you must have collected a lot of fans through your course as a writer now. So any funny comment or question which your reader or somebody has put to you?
Mm. Uh, Not a question, but I somebody wrote about love triangle in their review
Mm.
that suddenly towards the climax, the side characters become the main characters. And it made me laugh. It's their perspective of looking at it, and if you see from their angle, probably they are right.
Ah,
Also, yeah.
okay.
I was laughing. Okay, that's a fresh perspective. I never thought of
Oh,
that.
okay, okay. So
Yeah,
you can plan your sequel with bring those into the limelight and make another book
that's
out of them,
actually I
right?
have a spin-off already
Yeah.
planned with Varun and Gayatri
Wow.
story. Yeah.
Hey, great minds.
Yes.
Think alike. Nice,
Yes.
nice, nice.
Uh,
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
so that
okay.
was one
So,
instance that has remained stuck in my mind because it made me laugh, and it was like, okay, yeah,
ah,
readers can also think like
mm,
that.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's surprising to know how people what goes on in people's minds when they read,
Yes.
or
Yeah. And yeah,
right.
sometimes you get ideas also from such people, such
Very
readers.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's about all that I wanted to ask you. But it's been such a lovely,
Yeah,
delightful
I know,
session,
right?
really.
A very, very lively session, and we were laughing most of the time. I hope people
I
don't
know,
get, yeah,
yeah.
people are
And
not
we've
like,
been trying.
oh,
I mean,
oh,
I
वो
think
और
it
से
was
बैठ के पता नहीं क्या पंचायती कर रही है, क्या ही बात कर रही है.
it's really like like we have been trying for such a long time to get together, right? We're not getting the
Yes,
correct time and date
yes,
and all. Finally,
yeah.
I don't know if you have seen that old movie Sangam, where there's a very popular song. Would start singing to myself. Every time your message came. When can we have it? Like, bol Radha bol, क्या कहे
संगम
होगा
होगा
कि
कि
नहीं.
नहीं. Oh my
the
god.
name was the name also suits.
Yeah. So happy we were finally able to do this. And to everyone and to you, this video will be uploaded on my YouTube channel under the same name, A Rustic Mind. And I will also put a portion of it, if possible, on Instagram. Let's see if that would be possible or not. But definitely it will be there on YouTube.
IGTV, I think, allows for some pledge,
Yeah.
no?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's about it. So thank you, Radhika ji, for joining me. This has been a really fun session. And once again, I look forward to reading all your books, and I wish you all the success with your writing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Same to you, dear. Same to you. Thank you so much.